Hello everybody, welcome to this week's episode of David Talks. Before I show you this week's episode, I want to give a special shout out to my friend Lewis. We both used to work together a couple years ago. In this episode, he plays a character by the name of Crash. And I want to shout out that Lewis plays a killer rock band by the name of SOL. And he's a really good singer. He has a show coming up on March 21st. And it's going to be in Miami at 7 p.m. And it's $15 at the door for 21 and over. And make sure you all bring an ID. 18145 Northeast 19th Avenue, North Miami, Florida, 33162. So you all better come see him, guys. And you can't miss it. So good luck and have fun. Welcome back to another episode. This is David. Today we're going to be shifting gears. I have another guest that wanted to get on the show. He's a good friend of mine.
Oh man, dude, how many people are you gonna put on this show? I mean, you got a redneck guy who sucks.
And then you got the best for last. That's me.
Actually, you got the worst from last. I mean, I ain't the one wearing a bandana around my head smoking a joint, know what I'm saying?
Hey, enough with the joint jokes, man. You did it last episode, and you ain't gonna do it to me again in this episode.
And you know what? I've had it with you. You're just a dumb boy. And you know what? I'm a lot older than you.
Kick your butt, man. You're just an
When
idiot,
I was
man.
young,
I bet
we
you
used
got
to take
birds
people
going
like
into
you,
that freaking
and you know
beer,
what?
man.
I could
So
chew
what,
you
man?
out,
You
man.
drink?
You think you're
You
the
drink
best
all the
and you
damn
ain't?
time,
You're
man.
just a silly boy.
Guys, he's just on a special episode for today, okay? Relax. I mean, he has a busy life. He could only come when he can. Hey, tell him your name, buddy.
Hello, my name's Crash. James Crash. How you doing, mate?
Oh, hey, Crash. Say, I bet where you're from, teas and crumpets are a thing, man.
Dude, what the hell are you talking about, man? Crash is just a great guy, man.
Yeah, I'm a nice guy. Real quick thing about me, though. I have a bit of an outburst.
Oh,
Oh man, I stand corrected.
Dude, I mean, he ain't that bad. I mean, I did forget to mention that he was diagnosed with screamophilia at a very young age. I mean, that's why he sings pretty damn good.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, it just happens. I can't control it.
well, where are you from, man?
I moved down here a couple of years ago. I had to leave for personal reason, majority reason because on Twitter I called it King of Twat. And then Interpol was up on my door the next day, and then all of a sudden I had a hitch a ride in the United States. But mostly for the music, really. I mean, I like it down here in Florida.
Wow, so now that we know this guy, Dave, what do you have for today?
Well, today I'm going to be talking about America's most reported UFO sightings. On October 11th, 1973, the air along the Pascagoula River hung thick and damp, the kind of southern light where sound carries strangely over the water. Crickets droned, the river moved slow and dark under a fading sky. It was a kind of place where shadows stretch longer than they should. 42-year-old Charles Hickson and 19-year-old Calvin Parker had just finished a shift at the local shipyard. They weren't known pranksters. They were co-workers, tired, sweaty, and looking for a quiet hour of fishing before heading home. They drove out to an isolated stretch near an old pier, a place locals used but that felt cut off from town once the night fell. They cast their lines, and for a while nothing felt unusual. Then came the sound. Hickson later described it as a high-pitched, whirring, mechanical, unnatural, not like a boat motor, not like insects, but a strange oscillating hum that seemed to vibrate through the air itself. They looked up through the darkness. They claimed a glowing object was descending, an oval or football-shaped craft, perhaps 30 to 40 feet long. It radiated a bluish light that reflected off the surface of the river. The air, they said, felt charged electric. The object hovered just above the ground. No visible wings, no propellers, no sound of engines beyond that strange mechanical hum. Before they could run, both men said that they were frozen in place. Not just fear, but paralysis. Hickson would later insist he could not move a muscle. Parker said his body felt numb, like every move had been switched off. An opening appeared in the craft, and that's when they claimed the beings emerged. They did not describe the now familiar large black-eyed gray alien stereotype. Instead, Hickson described figures about 5 feet tall with gray, wrinkled skin, almost like elephant hide. Their noses were long and pointed, their mouths were thin slits, where eyes should have been. He claimed there were small indentations or possibly glowing areas. Accounts varied slightly over time. Their hands ended in claw-like appendages, and most disturbingly, they didn't seem to walk. They floated, gliding above the ground, moving without bending their legs. Parker later said terror overwhelmed him so completely that he thought he might have been having a heart attack. He claimed he fainted during part of the encounter. Hickson said the beings approached silently. No speech, no visible emotion. Then, without being physically grabbed, he said he felt himself lifted, suspended in air, pulled toward the craft by an invisible force. Inside, he described a bright interior with smooth metallic walls and no visible light fixtures, yet the room was fully illuminated. He said the air felt sterile and cold. He was placed upright against the surface. Then came what he described as a floating mechanical eye. Not attached to a body, not clearly connected to anything. It moved in front of him, scanning up and down as if examining him. He claimed it passed over his torso, arms, legs, studying him like an object, and he insisted there was no cutting, no sharp pain, but psychological fear was overwhelming. He felt observed, measured, evaluated. He said the beings communicated, nothing verbally, yet he felt they were intelligent, methodical, clinical. After what he believed was roughly 20 minutes, he said the process simply ended, no warning, no explanation. Suddenly he was back outside, standing on the riverbank. The craft hovered briefly, then ascended silently into the sky until it vanished. The night sounds returned, crickets, water, wind, as if nothing had happened. The men were shaking. Parker was pale and nearly incoherent. Hickson later described him as being in shock. They did something that still fuels debate about this case. They went straight to the authorities. Within an hour, they were inside the Jackson County Sheriff's Office, Mississippi, telling deputies they had just been abducted by creatures from a flying craft. Law enforcement was skeptical, understandably, but here's the detail that made this case famous.
I'm that guy.
Shh, what the frick, man?
Alejandro, be nice! The deputies placed Hickson and Parker alone in a room and secretly recorded them, expecting them to admit it was a hoax once officers left. Instead, the recording captured two terrified men whispering. Parker reportedly said, "I'm scared." Hickson replied, I know. They talked in low, shaken voices about what had happened, asking each other what those beings were, wondering if they would come back. There was no laughter, no joking, no planning of a story, just fear. The recording became one of the most cited elements of the case. Investigators later examined the men. Some supporters claimed polygraph tests indicated they believe what they were saying. Though polygraphs measure stress, not truth, believers counter, they reported it immediately. They went to the police voluntarily. Their private conversations suggested genuine fear, and their descriptions of the beings were unusual and not stereotypical. Calvin Parker would later write about the experience decades afterward, maintaining until his death that the encounter was real. Charles Hickson also stood by the account for the rest of his life. No physical evidence was ever recovered. No confirmed radar tracking, no landing traces, just testimony and a riverbank. Today, if you stand along the Pascagoula River at night, it's easy to understand how something could feel otherworldly there. So what happened that night in 1973? Two men claimed they encountered something not human. Authorities documented their fear. Skeptics see psychology, believers see proof, and the river still flows quietly past a spot where two men may have experienced something they could never explain.
Box of biscuit, a little big box of biscuit.
Dude, are you okay? Do I need to take you to the hospital?
Oh, no, it's nothing serious. Thank you for asking me.
What the frick, man? Dude, stop being the annoying little crap you are and zip it. We're trying to hear a creepy story, but you just keep interrupting.
Yeah, and I'm getting PTSD from it. It's making me not drink any beer.
Larry, that's not PTSD. That's like an exposure therapy, and that's a good thing.
No, it ain't. I love beer. And ain't nobody or nothing can take it away from me. That's just who I am.
Just shut up and continue the story.
In the fall of 1966, something strange settled over the Ohio River Valley. Reports of lights in the sky, stories of a winged figure near Point Pleasant, whispers passed between neighbors after dark, and right in the middle of it all was an ordinary man named Woodrow Derenberger. Derenberger wasn't a scientist. He wasn't a thrill seeker. He was a traveling salesman, husband, and father who spent his days driving lonely stretches of Appalachian Highway selling sewing machines. On November 2nd, 1966, around 7:30 in the evening, he was heading home along Interstate 77 near Parkersburg. The sky had already gone black. The hills rose like shadows on either side of the road. Traffic was light. The radio murmured softly in the cab of his truck. Then something dropped out of the sky. At first, he thought it was a plane descending too low, but this object didn't move like an aircraft. He later described it as shaped like an old kerosene lamp, narrow at the top, wider at the base, metallic and glowing with a soft bluish light. It descended smoothly, almost lazily, before moving directly in front of his truck. He hit the brakes. The object hovered just above the pavement. No engine roar, no wind, displacement, no sound beyond the faint hum. He said he could feel more than hear. Then, according to Derenberger, a door opened on the craft, and a man stepped out. Not a creature with claws, not a monster with glowing eyes. A man about 6 feet tall, dark hair combed straight back, wearing what looked like a shiny metallic suit that reflected the light from the truck's headlights. He appeared human, almost perfectly so, except for one detail that would define the story forever. He was smiling, not casually, not warmly, but with a wide, fixed grin that stretched across his face and never seemed to shift. Witnesses who later heard Derenberger describe it would say it sounded like the kind of smile that doesn't reach the eyes, the kind that feels rehearsed, mechanical. The man walked toward the truck. Derenberger said he couldn't move, not because, but because something about the moment felt suspended, frozen, like reality had slowed. Then the stranger spoke, except his mouth didn't move. Instead, Derenberger said he heard the voice clearly inside his mind, calm, measured, emotionless.
My name is Ingrid Cold.
The name felt strange, unfamiliar, almost too deliberate. Cold told him he meant no harm, that he came from a place called Lalunos. Derenberger described Lalunos as another world, perhaps another dimension, a place not hostile but curious about humanity. Cold explained, allegedly, that others like him were visiting Earth, observing, studying. Throughout the exchange, the grin never faded. Derenberger later said that was the worst part. The way the expression stayed exactly the same while the voice in his head spoke with calm precision. After several minutes, though time reportedly felt distorted, Cold turned and walked back to the craft. The door closed. The object rose vertically without a sound and vanished into the dark sky. The highway was empty again, just crickets, wind through the hills, and the hum of Derenberger's truck engine. He drove home shaken and told his family what had happened. Soon after, he reported the encounter publicly. Local media picked it up. Radio stations interviewed him. His voice, steady but uneasy, described the grinning man from the roadside. Timing made it even stranger. Just weeks later, reports of the winged figure that would become known as the Mothman were spreading across Point Pleasant. The region felt saturated with high strangeness, lights in the sky, odd phone calls, reports of men in dark suits asking questions. Researchers investigating the Mothman wave, including those whose work later inspired the Mothman prophecies, documented Derenberger's claims as part of a larger pattern of bizarre encounters in the area during 1966 and 1967. Derenberger expanded his story. He said the being visited him again, that he was shown visions, even that he traveled to Lanulos, and that's where belief began to fracture. Skeptics argue that stress, attention, and cultural influences of the 1960s UFO craze may have shaped or amplified the account. They point out how stories can evolve, how memory shifts over time. They note the lack of physical evidence, but supporters focus on the initial roadside encounter. The consistency of his description of that grin, the calm telepathic introduction, the sheer strangeness of a figure who looked almost human, but not quite. Because that's what makes Ingrid Cold so unsettling. He wasn't a monster in the woods. He wasn't a shadow in the sky. He was a man standing on an empty highway at night, smiling, too perfectly, too steadily, as if he had practiced how humans behave, but missed one small detail. And if the story were just about lights in the sky, it might have faded into obscurity like so many other 1960s UFO reports. But a grinning man who speaks directly into your thoughts, that image lingers. Even now, decades later, the highways around Parkersburg are still there. Cars still drive them at night. The hills still rise dark against the sky. And if you're alone on a stretch of road and something metallic descends in front of your headlights, you might hope it's a machine. Because the idea of a smiling stranger stepping out and knowing your thoughts is far harder to explain.
Just can't believe it. Just can't.
What don't you believe?
The fact that aliens do exist. I mean, it's like a load of Star Trek baloney to me.
Well, truth is stranger than fiction, and ain't no way in hell we're just that little speck of dust in the universe. I mean, look at Crash. He believes it.
I don't think Crash looks good, boy.
I don't think so neither, man.
Dude, he's just fine. Oh, shit. Speak to me, buddy. Crash. Come on, Crash. What do I do, man? Do I give him CPR or what? He's just foaming at the mouth and everything. What do I do, man? Larry, Alejandro, help me out here.
I don't even care, man. It's just ruining my day, man. Like, I'm getting so upset. Like, I want to take his head and I want to go...
Call 911, boy.
He has foam in the mouth. What do you mean what the hell I'm wearing, man? Come on, man. I got a friend right here that's foaming at the mouth. He's dying.
No, there's not. Don't call the med. No, 911. One of those bastards come in and just give me a checkup. It's a false alarm. Well, continue then with your story.
What are you doing, man? Trying to scare us?
You scared the crap out of me, man. Alright, false alarm, Blake. Thanks, buddy. Well, thank you for watching, guys.
Well, David, well, fellas, thank you for guys having me here today. Really sorry about, the whole weird bullshit about me and woman season. But honestly, it's nothing too serious then.
He doesn't know what he's talking about, man. He's making my life miserable, man, and I gotta smoke a joint.
Man, why you gotta make a big deal out of this, man?
you.
All I did was just say
can't
something
do
and you
nothing
escalated, and you're making it look like it's my fault, and it ain't my fault, it's your fault,
a
boy. You
bad
even
kid.
lucky you're on this show in the
Crash,
first place.
looks
If
like
it
you
wasn't
made
for me, man,
2
you
friends
would've never been
already
on here, man.
and 1 enemy. Please leave a comment, and I want to hear your feedback on these stories. What were your UFO experiences growing up? Or even your favorite shows about UFOs that you liked watching or favorite story? Again, guys, one final thought. Come out and check his band. It's called SOL. Coming to Miami? Here's the flyer one more time.